Before we begin today's review, here's a special holiday errors and inconsistencies segment. The 2023 Radiator Springs Pals Fabulous Hudson Hornet ornament released by Hallmark features the wrong wheel color. It's a very rare case of a piece of Hudson Hornet merchandise including Doc's regular wheels instead of his red racing wheels. I think an easy explanation for this is that they probably used the Hudson Hornets artwork as reference instead of a screenshot from the movie. One very common piece of Hudson Hornet artwork out there features the exact same mistake that this ornament does. So I think it's probably a safe assumption to say that they may have based this Doc ornament on this image. This wouldn't be the first time, as the 2022 Hudson Hornet ornament literally was this image slapped on the side of an ornament. Hello everybody, and welcome back to 25 Days of Suggestions 2025. Today is day 2, and we're going to be taking a look at Saludos, Amigos, Ramone, a suggestion from the Paw Squad. Thank you so much for your suggestion, as always, and if you would like to suggest a car for 25 Days of Suggestions, feel free to do so in the comments of this video. Suggestions are still open for now, and will be for the next few days. Just make sure that you watch my video going over the rules before you suggest a car. And stay tuned to the end of this video to see me fire up the random name picker and choose tomorrow's video. That's right, we'll be seeing what tomorrow's review will be at the very end of this one, so make sure to stick around and find out live with me as we see what we do tomorrow. This is a new thing we're trying out for this year, and I'm very excited to get a bit of a preview for tomorrow at the end of today's episode. Now, Saludos, Amigos, Ramone is an item that I'm very excited to be taking a look at again. I've only reviewed this car once, back when he came out in 2021. And let me tell you guys, Saludos, Amigos, Ramone was a car that was an absolute pain to wait for back when it was coming out, okay? Genuinely, it felt like it took them forever to make this Ramone variant. Saludos, Amigos, Ramone is, of course, the final paint job Ramone wears in Cars 3. And it took us a very long time to get, okay? We got Ramone's first paint job from Cars 3 into Ramone in 2017. We then got his second paint job from the movie Florida Ramone in 2018. But we didn't get Saludos, Amigos, Ramone until 2021. The wait was honestly made even worse by the fact that this was the final Ramone we needed. This was the final Ramone from the Cars movies that needed a die cast, okay? And not only that, he was featured in the Meet the Cars 3 edition with an entire page to himself, giving him both the name Saludos, Amigos, Ramone and a great high-quality drawing of what he looked like, making us want him even more. And then the mini racer for this guy came out a good solid year before the 155 scale item. It felt like it took forever to get this guy. Oh my gosh. And as someone who absolutely loves collecting Ramone variants, dude, I just wanted this Ramone so bad. It's not even one of my favorite Ramone paint jobs. It's a very cool one and a really great one. But really, just for the sake of completion, I wanted it out so bad. And since it's been released, I have been happy to see it come back in both a 2-pack and I believe a 5-pack more recently. I always assumed that they were deliberately holding off on this Ramone because, well, they knew it was the final one that had to be made from the movies. And I thought it's probably intentional that they waited until 2021 to release this Ramone. Because, of course, then in 2022, Cars on the Road came out, which gave us, well, a brand new look for Ramone. A brand new look we didn't get until 2 years after Cars on the Road came out. They're taking their sweet time with Ramones these days. I think it's probably to preserve the fact that there really aren't that many left. Anyway, Saludos, Amigos, Ramone is a very interesting item in concept. This is Ramone's design when Cruz kind of first shows up in Radiator Springs. The first time we see her there in the movie, in its final scene in Willie's Butte. And Saludos, Amigos, Ramone is Ramone celebrating Cruz's arrival And also, I guess, the arrival of Junior Moon, River Scott, and Luis Nash by painting himself like a classic 1950s style race car with the number 51 on him. But not only that, it also celebrates his Mexican heritage, which is really cool to see, with the Saludos Amigos writing and a lot of design motifs based on the Mexican flag. Not only is Ramone's actor Cheech Marin from Mexican descent, but so is Cruz's actor. So it's very cool to see that be acknowledged here in universe, that these two share a cultural background. And I think it's really cool to see Ramone supporting Cruz's background, the background of racers, and, the legacy going forward. Saludos Amigos, of course, translates to sort of greeting friends, or I guess welcome friends. And so it's very fun to see Ramone celebrating these cars that are making their way into his life, or into his life, into the lives of the cars of Radiator Springs. And the interesting thing is, Saludos Amigos is also the name of a Disney movie. This is something I don't think I've ever seen people brought up. I don't think I've ever seen anybody bring this up, but Saludos Amigos is the name of a pretty obscure Disney film, one of their first movies from the 1940s, when they were sort of not able to make high-quality, big-budget movies because of World War II. They created Saludos Amigos, which is a package film containing several short stories, little shorts and stuff, best known for including Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros, who you probably know like from the Disney ride and really not much else. They did some animated stuff with them a couple years back. But yeah, I've never seen anyone mention that. It's probably just a coincidence, but you know how Disney loves their Easter eggs. So I wonder if the specific choice of the word Saludos was used as a reference to that. I'm not entirely sure. Now, Ramone's paint job here is super, super interesting with this silver. Very, very cool. It's not really the typical silver we see on Cars diecast. It's this sort of almost kind of bare metal looking silver, which is pretty interesting. We, of course, have the Mexican and American flags up there. The number 51 in a little yellow circle. It's very similar to the concept we saw after Cars 3 came out with the Thomasville racers, right? Ramone decked out in these classic race logos. We've got the Piston Cup logo, which looks much more similar to the Piston Cup logo from Cars 1. We've got a dinosaur logo there. One of those old Dynaco logos that uses a different type of dinosaur than the one we're used to. And something very, very cool is that Ramone's secondary sponsors are Radiator Springs buildings. I completely forgot about that. That is a really cool detail. You can see Luigi's, Sarge's, the Cozy Cone Motel, Lizzie's, a Radiator Springs logo, Towmater, Towing and Salvage, and I can't quite tell what that one next to it is. Nice that Ramone didn't put his own building as a sponsor. This is, of course, something that was first done for Team RS Lightning McQueen, the McQueen used in media between Cars 2 and Cars 3, and more recently, it's been done on his GRC release. So, very, very cool to see that here. I completely forgot that actually made its way into the movies. Instead of Ramone's signature, it says Oil Pan Americana. Guys, what if this is telling us something? What if this is some sick lore drop that Ramone's real name has actually been Oil Pan Americana the entire time? I don't know. You know, these 50s racers are full of different sponsors, but I really would have liked if Ramone's name were up there. That would have been cool, instead of just another sponsor logo. Oil Pan Americana, Rally Mexico. Again, another reference to Ramone's Mexican heritage, which we also see here with the Mexican flag colors here on the side. And look at this. Ramone did sponsor himself, as it says Ramone's House of Body Art, Radiator Springs, on the back in a sort of stylized 1950s-esque font. Very, very cool. You got another Oil Pan Americana Rally Mexico logo there, and the other side is going to be basically identical. And finally, there is a look at the base. This is genuinely an insanely cool Ramone variant. While it isn't my all-time favorite in terms of the design itself, I think it's easily some of the best storytelling we've ever seen on a piece of Cars merchandise in a character's paint job, if that makes any sense. Just looking at this paint job shows you Ramone honoring his and Cruz's shared Mexican heritage. It shows Ramone honoring Doc, honoring the legacy of racers, while also looking forward and honoring Cruz's future, all while happily welcoming her to his home. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of 25 Days of Suggestions, but before we finish, it is, of course, time to run the random name picker and see what tomorrow's review will be. So what we do here is we go, and the first thing we got to do is remove Saludos, Amigos, Ramone. So we just do a good old find and replace. I'm going to remove him from the list because he's now been reviewed. And now it's time to run the name picker. Let's see who's it going to be. Let's find out. Who will tomorrow's review be? It is Brian Spark. All right. Very cool. And they're still asking me how high my IQ is. I don't know. Hopefully high enough to review Brian Spark well. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 3. Bye now.